I am DEANO and welcome to OverDrift Festival. This is a fairly new early access game, and I came across this game due to Blackpanthaas' channel, and I think this game has a lot of potential because it has a pretty solid core. They just need to expand upon it and, well, to give you more stuff to do. And I think this game will be really good, like genuinely actually good. I like the handling physics. They feel good, they feel fun. The cars are actually you can actually handle the cars when they're fully upgraded, which is a nice bonus in any game, because there's some games where like you go from the basic cars and you get to the higher level cars, and the higher level cars are completely undrivable because they've toned the game mainly for like the lower level cars. I mean, I think Need for Speed 2015 I feel like is a good example of that. When you get to the max level cars, the cars are just undrivable. They just don't, it's just not fun. But this one here handles it pretty well. I'll get into that though in a separate video, because if I get into the gameplay, the video will be too long and I won't be able to cover all the information that I want to in this video. First thing I want to go over is the controls. I am using a controller, and you can use a controller. Like Blackpanthaas' video is how I originally came across this game, and he said he couldn't get a controller to work. I managed to get it working. The way I did it was I turned the controller on before I launched the game. I was able to navigate the menus with the controller, but I wasn't able to drive the car with the controller until I set these settings up manually. So these are pretty self-explanatory. If you want to steer with the D-pad as an example, you can do that, or if you want to steer with the analog stick, you can do that. I'm going to leave it as the analog stick because that's the typical way in which I steer the cars. Pretty easy to set up. You can just follow those setup details if you want to use those, and just configure them to what you would like to have depending on what you want to do. So yeah, pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Next thing to go into is the point system and the currencies. So the currencies I'm just going to talk about while I try and earn some points. So the first one to talk about is the points in the very top. Well, very top right, I should say. I have 1100 points currently banked that I haven't deposited yet, or well, put it like the sort of cash point. So the significance of the points in the top right is the number of points you have determines how many credits you get when you take them to a cash point, and the number of likes you have, or well, sorry, the number of points you have also determines the number of likes and the number of fans. That's the terms I'm using for the other two currencies as well. You get about 20% of the points you earn in likes, and you get about 4% of the 4% of the points in fans. Pretty easy system to understand, not particularly in depth, but it works for the way the game is at the moment. I imagine they could probably change that around a little bit before the game actually like fully launches. I would expect them to do that, but for the way the game is at the moment, this system works. It works pretty well. The cars and stuff like that are also, the cars and like upgrades and all that stuff are all unlocked through like a tree system. You can't just skip straight to the last upgrades unless you have enough points to do so. The same with cars. You have to unlock all the cars previously before you unlock the final car that you want. So just to give you an example, if I quickly go into the menu, you'll see here in the cars, I have all these cars unlocked to get the bus. I haven't bought the bus yet because I'm saving credits for other things. But if I want to go and get the Hurricane as an example, I can't unlock it. Even if I had the points, I wouldn't be able to because I haven't got the Pretender first. So that's just the way it works. It's a pretty straightforward system, pretty easy to use. Same with the upgrades and stuff, all work the same. You can unlock the engine, you can unlock the, well, steering, and you can go through and unlock all these different pathways from the initial pathways. So pretty straightforward, pretty easy. But let's go back to the cash point I was nearby there. I'm going to switch over to this car here just for a little bit more speed, because this is the only car which I've got fully upgraded at the moment. I've also changed the engine sound in this thing as well, because I was getting a little bit sick of hearing the standard engine sound, because every car in the game uses that as the standard engine sound. The Ford Mustang sounds so weird with that engine. It just doesn't sound right at all. So this thing here, because it's the one I use the most at the moment, just for granting points for other vehicles, and you'll see what I mean in a second about that. I decided to change the engine on this thing first because this is the one I'm going to be hearing the most often. I'll get around to changing the engine sounds on all the other cars, but just at the moment, this one needed it the most. But this also shows that the starter car is definitely not a bad car. It's actually pretty good for the most part. All the upgrades and stuff make it more responsive, and they make it easier to drive, easier to hold drifts, and easier to catch it when you push it a little bit too far. So pretty straightforward, pretty easy. But you can see most of the points I earned there, I earned on this car. If I switch over to the S14 and then go to bank these points, the likes are added to the total that I already had, and then the fans and the cash, those are just both universal between all the cars, but the likes can only be used on the specific vehicle that they're banked on. So these 43,000 likes are worthless on this car. The 14,000 on this one here are going to be used at some point, and I'm gradually working my way to finishing this thing off because I think I want to upgrade this thing to the max next. I haven't quite decided 100% yet, but all the cars I own I'm going to eventually upgrade to the max anyway, so it's just only a matter of time. But I think that's everything I want to go over at the moment. I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but the point system pretty much works off of the faster you go, the more angle you have, the more points you get. So it's a pretty straightforward system, pretty easy and self-explanatory, and that's it all. That's one thing which I've been spoiled by with the Forza Horizon games. Being able to smash through these like barriers was so convenient. Not being able to do it in the game again feels kind of weird. And yeah, but it really encourages you to actually use the proper paths rather than off-roading, because I'm just so used to off-roading just out of habit that not being able to do it everywhere feels kind of weird. But yeah, I'm going to leave this video off here before I start rambling. I'll probably do another video on this covering other aspects, but I'm going to leave this video here. I hope you have a good one.